Let them know it's Halloween. Hit it!
I wouldn't change places with anyone tonight. We'll carve pumpkin faces and watch the witches' flight. Every human heart will shudder. Every soul will shake with fear. Tonight, the creepiest. Tonight, the scariest. Tonight, the most wonderful. The year anything can happen on Halloween. Your dog could turn into a cat. There may be a toad in your bass guitar, or your sister could turn into a bat. Christmas time brings the snow. Summertime brings the sun. But on Halloween, your blood begins to run. Something spooky's going down. Anything can happen on Halloween. It's better than a video. Gremlin's gonna mess up every cassette from London to Idaho. April 1st can be fun. New Year's Eve is a bore. But on Halloween, your flesh begins to grow. Oh, I'm losing control. Anything can happen on Halloween. Your toenails grow long and your hair turns green. Your teacher could become a sardine. Your dentist could turn into a queen. Has anybody seen my tambourine? I may start playing big in the beginning. The craziest night you've ever seen. This hairy, scary, creepy, crawling
What is going on, balls?
Number two.
We've all
smells
come
like
down.
poo.
We've come down with Sequelitis balls again.
We're fucked.
You know, it's been a while. It's been a while. The last Sequelitis show that we did was Exorcist, the Exorcist 2, and what was the other one? Chud 2, Bud the Chud, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been almost like it's well over a year and a half, something like that. So requested by our buddy Card Under Dinch, and he wanted to bring it back. And the only movie that he particularly requested, and he kind of gave us free reign on the second movie, was of course Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He wanted us to endure that fucking piece of shit again.
I'm really, really glad that he selected that one of all the ones that he could pick.
Yeah. So anyway, it's gonna be a fun
can't-
night. Maybe
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be fun.
It's not going to be a fun night. It's going to be an awful night, but it might be fun to hear what we have to say about both these movies. And I don't think, have we ever talked about The Ring 2 in any like fashion other than the deer?
The scene,
From
yeah,
The
which
Ring
we're
2?
going to go over scene by scene here. I've got it ready. We're going to do something special when we talk about
Okay.
The Ring 2. But no, I mean, honestly, I just remembered that scene in The Ring 2. I didn't really remember the movie. And
I found out why.
yeah,
I sure did. Yeah.
we'll talk about that. I mean, Naomi Watts is always nice to look at. And it's good to see that she got her bloke, Simon Barrett or whatever the fuck his name was.
Simon Baker.
Simon Baker, our good
Yeah.
bloke from North Queensland. I just did that shitty Lane of the Dead movie. I did, and I'm going to do The Ring 2. Anyway.
I'd rather seen him run around and lick people's fucking bald heads and what he did in this
Lick
movie.
people's assholes. Yay!
That's his gimmick. He licks assholes.
That guy's had the weirdest career of all time, by the way. Simon Barrett Simon
Barrett.
Simon Baker, the
Yes.
mentalist, right?
Yes, the mentalist.
He hasn't done jack. He didn't do jack.
Wasn't
shit.
he in Land of the Dead?
Yeah, that's what I said. He was in Land of the Dead,
Okay.
and then The Ring 2, which nobody saw. And then he was gone forever, and they gave him a lead on some fucking detective show, like he's some big star or something. And now he's gone again. Look at Simon Barrett or Simon Baker. Bradley Taylor. My sincere condolences that you guys talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's the worst movie that I've ever saw. Wow.
I don't think it's the worst movie I've ever seen, but I have a lot of stuff to say about it for sure.
We're going to be talking about a couple of the worst movies of all time on here tonight. We're also going to have, and you have to tune in, a surprise review that we're going to throw at you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're sick of people asking about it, and I'm probably going to put it up by itself too, so people will fucking have it. So it is weird, yeah, that we've never reviewed it, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Wesley, like your name, sir. What up, boy? Good to finally catch you in live stream again, even though it's 2 a.m. over here in Ireland. Whoa, okay. I'm looking forward to the stream. Well, I'm glad that you're staying up uber late or uber early with us, Wesley. X-Ray Punch. This is going to be baller, shot caller. Witch Hunter, howdy. What's going on? Jeffrey Bellamy. Hey, balls. Excited for the stream. Sean 420. Frightful Night Media. CJM Before Christ is in here. Both of these movies were horrible. Lots of people chiming in on these movies already. Matthew Hara says, what's up, guys? H2 is a huge piece of shit. I'd rather stare at wet paint for 2 hours. X-Ray Punch says, all I remember about Halloween 2 was horses and Scout straight out of Compton. Thompson.
I don't know.
I'm Baby Maze. Oh my God. Come Angel Murs. Carter is in the house. Caddyshack 2 was going to be my original second pick.
Yeah.
I would have rather watched Caddyshack 2.
I would. I think that's a more enjoyable movie. I've seen that movie. And it's
Jackie
fair.
Mason is a better actor than Scout Taylor Compton.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Motionless Zombie is in here. I don't know if I've ever seen that name before. Welcome, Motionless. Hey guys, I want to rewatch this movie on Halloween as a part of my Myers Marathon. 6 and Ends will not be watched. I like 6.
Yeah, I would definitely not include 6 in that shit. I'd put
Yeah,
not resurrection and
6
not
is some good shit.
kills and not ends.
That's good shit, pal.
Dude.
Oh, the Kentucky Cunctator is in here. I haven't seen him in a while. What's your all's take on Land of the Dead? Ain't no count or ain't half bad.
Here's the thing. If you compare it to Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, it's fucking killer. If you compare it to like just regular movies, it's kind of shitty. Still this day, it's pretty shitty.
I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting Land of the Dead, but I mean, of all the Romero, post 2000 zombie movies, that's easily the best one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
That's not saying a whole lot, I don't guess.
Fat Rob Zombie's in here, boys.
Eat my fucking ass! Ow!
Yeah, you want to eat my ass? I'm going to eat my ass today.
Matthew Horror. Here it goes, boy. Tonight, folks, it's the Battle of Shit sequels. You've got that old piece of shit Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And then you've also got that Hideo Nakata Paradiso. The Ring, too.
The Ring.
Whoever wins, we all lose, folks.
All
right, so you want to go ahead and get started? We can get started because we're going to be talking about a total of 3 movies here.
I don't really want to do this.
Two
There's any way
sequels.
that I can get out of doing this right now.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, we're going to do The Ring 2 first. So we're doing chronologically because this one came out 2005. DreamWorks. Now, how many different horror movies can you think of that DreamWorks did back in the day? I don't think they exist anymore. But not too many that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about DreamWorks doing horror films.
Wasn't
DreamWorks part of Disney?
Hell, I don't know.
Or was that that's Touchstone I'm probably thinking of.
Cinema side, we're going to talk about that here in a second.
What's that? Oh yeah. Shit.
I did note that today. I was like, that is pretty fucking hilarious. The only other one that pops into my head that DreamWorks did, though, was one that I think is severely underrated, by the way. I don't know if it's kind of Hitchcockian, I would say, and that would be What Lies Beneath. I think that they did that one.
What lies beneath? We are afraid. Sounds
what
like
lies beneath me and you is a puddle of semen
and a puddle of poop. What lies beneath me and you
is a puddle of piss and puke. That's a new Hell Lord song. Right. And also, a huge shout out to everybody tonight for tuning in live, because I don't know why people do this. They want to fucking try to do the shows the same time that we do. And I don't appreciate that shit. I don't care who you are.
Nope.
I don't care if you're Rambo. I don't care if you're Garrett. Y'all know better than that. Shouldn't do that to us.
Y'all fucked up big time now.
Calling you out. So anybody that's checking us out on replay that didn't choose Dead Pit first, get out of here. Unsubscribe now. Oh, we're just kidding.
I'm not. Everybody knows we're the best fucking show going. I'm not kidding at all.
Yeah, so you people, hey, if you're busy, like if you were working or something like that and couldn't tune in live, we forgive you. But if you're checking out some other show while our show was on and you're putting us second, that's unforgivable, Uncle Bill. That's something you just don't do. That's like cracking a fart in church.
That's right. It's like a turn to punch bowl. Dead Pit is never number 2. We're always number 1. In the hearts and souls and minds of all the people and the listeners and all the world.
Yeah. And everybody else is number 2.
So I got a question for you, because I did this and I wish that I hadn't, but I did, because I'm trying to be professional here. I'm trying to be professional because I watched both the theatrical and the unrated
fuck.
or whatever cut of this fucking movie.
So I did
So I
too.
could compare them.
So I reviewed. I don't know how many months ago this was, but I watched the theatrical version when I reviewed the Via Vision Blu-ray, and then this last time I watched the director's cut because the director's cut of Rob Zombie, is what everybody jacks off about. Like people go, "Oh God, that's the best
real
movie."
quick. Oh, do you think that like on the set that he talks like that? Like he's like, I'm gonna need that lightning rig, yeah.
It's too goddamn
Do something
bright,
with
motherfucker.
Sherry thing, yeah.
Shake your ass, Sherry.
I hate that guy. There's only a couple people I hate worse than him, really, when it comes to like film directors.
That's true. We are the only gangsta horror podcast.
So
anyway,
look
here what I found, man. I dug this out.
Oh no.
Okay, it's the Ring Test Unrated Edition.
No.
It's directed by Hideo Nakata, and the director of photography was Taka Michinoku.
Oh my lord.
Yeah. So,
Taka Michinoku directed that?
Yeah,
photography
director of photography on it. That's why
it's
it looks
in the High and Tie Express and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kai and Tai and Dick Togo. And Dick to Go, I think they called him.
Dick to Go.
Dick to Go. Hideo Nakata, though, was the director of the original Ring back in Japan, back in like the late 90s or whenever the hell it came out. I don't even know. But let's set this up because we're going to go through these chronologically. This one came out in 2000 and what year was this? 2005?
Oh, fuck. Are we doing the Ring 2 first?
Well, we might as well. We got to save Rob Zombie for last.
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can find a pillow or something over here. Because just talking about this is gonna put me to sleep.
So let's set it up though for you. The Ring 1 came out, I think it was in like 2002, 2001, 2002. Gigantic success, like the Asian horror stuff or J horror, whatever the hell they called it. That was huge around that time period. It was blowing up. And then you had all these directors come out of the woodwork in Hong Kong and
Tartan Asian Extreme came out, and then we had to sit through like 4,000 Japanese ghost movies.
Yeah, the paintbrush and the telephone booth and the
escalator and
the supersized fries one.
That one was the Arch Deluxe.
Yeah. And so I mean, this thing was gigantic. It was huge back in the day. And it blew up here in the United States. The US version of The Ring made all kinds of money, and it was actually a pretty decent movie. I like it. I enjoy it. It's not one that I watch a lot or I go back to, but there's no denying it was a huge like movement around that film in 2002 when it came out. Made tons of money, made poor Naomi Watts a household name after many years of doing other shitty movies. She was in one of the Children of the Corn movies, Uncle Bill. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
Children of the Corn 666, Isaac's vibrator, or whatever the hell it's called. Isaac's Revenge.
Okay, I'm gonna try very hard to give you a brief synopsis of the beginning of this film. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I zoned out in the middle of this film.
Oh, you didn't finish it?
Pretty hardcore. No, I finished it. But I'm saying I was on my phone. I was playing checkers. I was outside mowing the grass. I was doing anything I could to
stuck a thumb up your butt.
Stuck my thumb up my ass with a plum on it. Anything I could to avoid watching this movie, I did. So this takes place 6 months after the original Ring. And by this time, that little kid, who is one of the most annoying little kids.
He's still kind of creepy looking, though.
He is, but he's just sucks so bad. I think his name is like Aiden.
Aiden.
They've moved away from that area that they were at in the original film, and they've moved on to a different place. So
they're in Astoria, home of Goonies.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like while they're over in this place trying to get away from all the events that happened in the first movie and yada yada yada, the tape, the cursed videotape, has been like circulating, making its way through all of like these teenagers that are living in Astoria. So I guess the tape takes on a life of its own, and it's being viewed by all these people, and all these people are, you know, dying in 7 fucking days and yada.
Well, there's a pre-title sequence in this too. Were you going to talk about that?
You can go ahead, yeah.
Where it was very much like it was set up like, you know how the pre-title sequence in like the Scream movies are. It's almost exactly like that. Like that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
But instead of Ghostface, it's a fucking tape, right?
Right.
And the kid that was Ryan Merriman, I think is the guy's name. He was also in Halloween Resurrection a couple of years before this. He was like one of the main guys in Halloween Resurrection. So he's had his fair share of shitty sequels. But evidently he's trying to pass the curse on to this girl that he met and trying to get her to watch the tape.
Yeah.
It's on the 7th day. He waited right up until the last 10 minutes or whatever it is.
7 deadly sins.
7 ways to win.
7 holy paths to hell and rings 2 begins.
So of course, like he's being really pushy with this young lady. He's like, just watch it, bitch. Watch the fucking tape. God.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah.
Just watch it.
Watch it, stupid.
And of course, she puts the tape on, and he's like, oh, yes. He's in the other room. He's like, yes. And then he goes back in there, and she's just playing it, but she's not watching. She's going, oh. And he's like, well, shit.
Yep.
And he gets got by the evil, twisted Samara, who comes out of the TV and just, you know.
Okay, here's my
finger
question.
fucks him to oblivion.
I'd love this movie so much more if that's what she did.
Like, and he has that look on his face when he's like, oh.
What he sound like again? Oh.
His face is blue.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So, this movie sucks so bad. Okay. So, did you think, though, that it looked, for some reason in the first Ring, that effect looked pretty good, but in this one, it always like cracked me up when they would show up in that like state where they're like,
right.
Like they were all,
I've just been obliterated by Samara.
Like for some reason it just looked goofy as hell. I don't know if it was who was doing the prosthetics or whatever,
It
but
looked kind of goofy. It almost looked Scary Movie-esque. Like
it did, yeah. I think they did it better in Scary Movie, like whichever one that was, 3, I think. Anyway, what were we at before that sidetrack part? So like, here's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So apparently, I'm not sure why, but Samara can move around like wherever she fucking wants to in this movie. Like she's not just confined to the well or whatever, because she shows up at a fair or a carnival or some shit like that. And like that little creepy kid's always taking pictures and shit. And like he's just walking around in one of the most boring scenes ever, which there's a lot of those in this movie, just taking pictures at a fucking fairground. Like it's like the story of Olin Mills or something.
Didn't you think this movie? Now I watched it on DVD, but didn't you think this movie?
I cracked myself up for saying
what?
The story of Olin Mills. That's a reference nobody will get. But,
it's almost shot like a movie that's like a Hallmark movie or something. That's what it looked like. I don't know if it was just where I had it on a crappy DVD. It didn't really look the best anyway. But yeah, I mean, you could tell, like, I don't know what kind of a budget they had with this, but you could pretty much tell from like the opening credits that something is off about this movie. I'm very interested in, hopefully, I'm not buying that fucking 4K set, but hopefully I can get a good rip of it to see what like an updated transfer of this and one particular scene looks like. I'm dying to fucking see.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that here in a second, but
I'm confused why anyone's excited about that box set still to this day. Because those two movies, like Rings 2 and Rings, are fucking awful. So I'm really like baffled. But yeah, go ahead.
After the death of the boy, which was a very, I think the Rachel character, what was her name? Rachel Keller, played by Naomi Watts. She's of course, a reporter in Astoria now. She's still a reporter.
Right.
And she sees the dead body of the boy, and of course he's orgasming and he's blue. Ooh. And she's like, oh shit. She's like, oh shit. The evil Samara is back. And she's after her boy Aiden. And,
really, those people that die like that just look like everybody else around here that live in hollers and stuff. I won't. Y'all see my boy.
Y'all see my boy, yeah. So Simon Baker's character, Max, is like Rachel's helpful coworker in the movie.
Yeah.
And
that's what we needed.
She's convinced of Samara's existence long before there's really anything else other than that goes, ooh, that she's back and everything. And then the boy starts having, like, the Aiden character starts having dreams and visions and all this shit too. And strange shit begins to happen around him, right? Mm-hmm. And it gets really fucking difficult to follow after that. Well,
I know that there's like some sort of subplot where they're all like, the kid's seeing a fucking psychiatrist or something, and he's terrified of water. And I think that's got just to do with like the whole backstory of the fucking movie, the whole bullshit with Samara. There's also some weird, like, where like she can possess people's bodies in this. Do you remember that subplot towards the end of the movie?
Yeah, all the photos that's taken with Aiden, she's in them too. She's like in the shadows in him as well. And man, this movie is like, this is a 2-hour movie. And I don't know what the fuck it is. We've watched only 2-hour plus fucking horror movies in the last couple of weeks.
I'll be honest with you. I just went and watched Five Nights at Freddy's this afternoon.
Oh no.
And that's because the kids wanted to go see it. I promise you that. And it was 2 hours long. I was like, why the fuck is this 2 hours long?
Didn't they have that on streaming too?
Yeah.
Oh.
They just wanted to see it in theater.
You wanted to
I didn't want.
They wanted to torture you even more. Let's go to the theater and see that.
Let me tell you something. The last thing I wanted to see was anything to do with Five. I don't even know what the fuck that shit is.
I don't either. I remember seeing the toys for the last few years, and I still didn't know what it was. At first, when I first saw it, I thought it was like some sort of Freddy Krueger thing, but it ain't.
Well,
it ain't got nothing to do with Freddy Krueger, boy.
Five Nights at Freddy's can stick 5 knuckles up our ass.
We lived that shit though, man.
We did.
Billy Bob's Wonderland. You'd take your kids to that. They'd be really freaked out.
We've already been there. We've been there 2 or 3 times.
Oh, have they been there?
Yeah. Okay. They love that place, which is funny because that place looks like an old cafeteria from like an elementary school now.
Is the pizza any better or no?
It's not very good, no.
Anyway, so this is like a really, really dull, just slow, boring fucking movie. But there's one particular scene that we've talked about over the years, and it's the only thing that I really remembered from the movie because I was like, when I saw it initially, I couldn't believe it. They left the fucking thing in the movie. Yeah. For one thing, it has nothing to do with nothing. Like, it's not of any importance or significance to even exist in the movie. For the other thing, it looks like dog shits. And we're going to
Yes.
play it and hopefully not get kicked out. We should be able to still talk over this, Uncle Bill, because
I don't think anybody gives a shit about the Ring 2 anymore, Bill.
No, probably not. But this is a brief clip of said, and this is the thing that everybody usually talks about with the Ring is you remember Deer Hunter on the PC back in the day? This is what this reminds me of. Oh God,
God, that looks real. Look at that.
You're not crossing in front of this CGI deer now.
This deer's gonna fuck your world up.
Naomi Watts. Look how dangerous those pixels are.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Oh my God. And I'm not kidding. This is the best scene in the whole damn movie.
What the hell? Like, who even?
Let's get away. Come on. Oh God. Oh no.
Fucking deer flying out of nowhere.
It's the flying deer.
Let me tell you something. The least scary thing in the world to me is like a pack of fucking deer trying to kill you.
And they're not even real deer.
That does look like those Deer Hunter games where you shoot at them right there.
Yeah. I think the Deer Hunter games had better graphics though.
Oh no, it's a bunch of, that's like a redneck's dream right there. Somebody fucking
we're coming to get you.
You imagine a bunch of people around here watching this, they probably blew a load in the theater.
That kid does have a very smacking face. You think so, Uncle Bill? He's old enough to officially be smacked now, so you can say that.
That's true. Look at him.
Oh God!
Oh my God, that's artistic as hell right
just
there.
Insane, man.
Fucking.
You may cross now, human.
I'll bet Naomi Watts is like, God, don't nobody ever bring this up. I bet when she goes on an interview show, she's like, don't you ever dare ask me about the Ring 2.
That's the one movie that's off topic. That and Children of the Corn 6.
Yeah, I'll fucking shit a brick.
Oh God. So it's coming out in 4K soon, folks. Are you excited? We'll get this in 4K.
I can't wait to see how shitty that looks. If somebody let me borrow it or something.
I'm excited. Hopefully somebody can at least rip the 4K of that scene. Because I don't ever want to watch this movie again. It's really fucking terrible. And really what inspired us to do this, because I think we were really going to do Brahms the Boy too.
Yeah.
That was the original idea. Was that they were coming out with this in 4K. And I was like, have people just forgotten about how goddamn bad this movie is?
That
people
will
are like,
be,
oh, sorry.
That will be the release of the year, though, just to see that scene in 4K. You can imagine like how amazing that'll look. And Garrett will have it, so Garrett can give he can send it to us.
Garrett's for sure getting it. He already told me. He's not even trying to deny this one.
Nope.
But Hideo Nakata, did he ever make another U.S. movie at all?
Probably not. He's probably
he did. I don't know how well this one did either, but up until this point, this is only out on DVD, so it's getting a huge upgrade to 4K on Scheme Factory's box set.
You know what's screwed up about this movie, though, more than anything, is the first one was directed by, wasn't it an American director that directed the first one? I can't remember his name, but they specifically brought back the guy that did the original Ringu to do this movie, and this is what they got, which is so fucked up because it's like,
yeah, the Gore Verbinski was the guy.
Gore Verbinski, yeah,
who would later go on. He did the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the first 3, I think. So he pretty much retired after that.
It's possibly I've seen more boring movies than The Ring 2, but you really have to stretch to find them because there's whole periods where you don't know what's going on in this movie.
I have this playing. Speaking of which, I've got this playing on video.
Yeah, I bet that looks amazing.
That's along the same lines.
But like, yeah, there's periods where nothing happens. There's a lot of like really like silly dialogue scenes that go on forever. There's a lot of scenes with that kid that go on way too long. I guess they're trying to build suspense, but they're really just like wasting time. And the whole thing with like the possession parts and the fact that Samara can just move around. Oh, and they destroy the fucking tape. Like,
Didn't they destroy the tape in the first movie?
They destroyed it
too?
in the first one too, but in this one, do they throw it in a fire or something? Like, I don't remember what they did.
That's
exactly.
really going to destroy it.
But
I would piss on it first and then throw it in the fire.
Right, you got to do something different. Like,
Sissy Spacek is in this too, in a brief cameo, plays Samara's mom in it.
Right.
I bet she's real proud of that role.
And
too.
she loved that role. She's like, yep, I'm glad I got out of retirement for that shit.
Spoiler alert, though, Simon Baker gets got by Samara in this and has orgasm face, and you get to see that too.
He does.
If that's any, have any excitement for you there. But that is The Ring 2. Man.
It's almost 2 hours long.
2 hours. The unrated cut, which is the only cut that I think ever came out on home video. Which maybe, does anybody know if the theatrical cut has the deer scene in it? Maybe that was what they had back, because it certainly looks like something that would be on the cutting room floor, and it would be like a deleted scene or something.
So I'll tell you right now too, I didn't realize this, but this movie made a lot of money. On a budget of $50 million, it made $164 million.
The what? The Ring 2 did?
The Ring 2 made $164 million. I'm assuming that's worldwide, but I don't know. Yeah.
My mind's blown at that one. Jamie Hart is in here. What's going on? She says The Ring 2 is boring for me, but I actually really like Rob Zombie. There's a lot of people that really like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We're going to get to it, I promise.
I'm going to be like Bad News Barrett.
Kentucky,
I've got some bad news.
Wants us to talk about The Ring 2 for 90 minutes and Halloween 2 for 5 to piss us off.
I don't think I could talk about the Ring. There's not enough shit that happens in The Ring 2 to talk about for like 90 minutes.
Well, the Ring 2, interesting timing wise too. So we can talk about this. 2005, and even by 2005, VHS tape. Well, aside from Eastern Kentucky, which were still pretty prevalent then, but they completely stopped making VHS tapes in 2006. So, do you think that may be why they didn't make another Ring movie? Because VHS tapes are kind of gone. They're not a thing. Like after 2006, they quit making them.
Maybe.
And they made that much money, and they didn't make a follow up that soon thereafter. It's kind of
you could have like a Cursed Vinegar Syndrome 4K now or something.
Good.
I don't know. There's not a whole lot you can do now.
Yeah. We did do the Star Wars holiday special, Bradley. Go back in the archive. We did a Tragedies in Tinseltown on the holiday special. It's not very good either. It's actually very similar to watching something like The Ring too. Not much goes on. It's like you're like, when the hell is this going to end?
There's like a whole 45-minute first sequence that's just a bunch of shit about like Ewok families running around, or I'm sorry, not Ewoks. What are those fucking things? Chewbacca.
I've been watching a lot of movies lately where I'm just begging them to fucking end. And we've reviewed a lot of them. I mean, I blame Garrett for that fucking Exorcist show.
Yep.
I had to watch both versions of the Exorcist prequel, which is equivalent to being fucking waterboarded or something, I think. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Which one do you think is more boring, The Exorcist, Dominion, or Rings 2?
Exorcist Dominion. Easy. At least you had Naomi Watts to look at. There's the deer scene in The Ring 2 that's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, even without that, I think that movie's slightly more entertaining than those Exorcist prequels.
I think that there's very little that's less entertaining than, in terms of just the pace of a movie, than Dominion. Like, nothing happens in that movie for about an hour and a half, and then when it does happen, it's that goofy mask-looking kid gets possessed, and then that goes on for about 30 minutes where he's hairless floating around in that fucking church.
I hate Stellan Skarsgård. Now I've come to terms that I just hate that guy. I can't stand watching him in anything. He's just one of those vanilla actors that just needs to go away. He needs to go on vacation with Sam Neill somewhere and never make another film.
Very true.
But anyway, anybody in the chat got anything to say about the Jeff says, I would watch Dominion over the Fog remake that came out the same. There was a lot of shitty movies that came out in like 2004, 2005. A lot.
Which is funny because that's when we started doing the show.
Yeah, you know when what I was looking at though, I was reminded here where I got this at. Do you remember Superstar Video? Or it may have been Movie Gallery at that point.
It was Movie Gallery at the end, yeah.
About 2 weeks after like the new releases had been out a couple of weeks or whatever, they would put them on sale for like $7 or $5 for whatever, $5 for 25 or something like that. I don't know. And this was one that I had picked up because of that. And I think that I'd watched this shortly before we started doing the show. And I was like, dude, this movie sucks ass, but you've got to see that deer scene that we were looking at earlier.
Yeah, that's what you said, yeah.
And
that was the only reason.
Did you ever watch the movie in full after
I've never seen the movie until the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about that.
And I don't think I missed a goddamn. I wish I just never watched it.
I mean, what's weird is if you look at user reviews online, this movie doesn't really have overtly negative reviews. It really doesn't. I mean, it's kind of like average, I would say, like C+ reviews.
I think there's just a certain type of people that like those kind of movies that don't mind like long, drawn out, boring shit. Like they just more like comfortable with it or accept it. But I just can't deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to continue on here. And man, you can go back to the very first time we watched this on Dead Pit on the Road in 2009. And it was kind of hyped up for us because everybody watched our original review for Rob Zombie's Halloween and they couldn't wait to see what we were going to say over this, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. And I really don't remember where we went to see Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. But I remember being like in the theater watching it initially. I was like, fuck, this is worse than the first one. How? How did he do it? Right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And not only that, but the theatrical version's one thing. You've got all these people online putting over that director's cut, which I think is even worse.
It is worse. And I can explain why it's worse as we go along into this too.
So I dug it out, boys. Halloween 2, we're going to go over, well, we're not going to go over the cuts of the movie, but we can talk about some distinct differences and everything.
I'm going to tell you, though, that I don't know if you'll agree with this or not. I doubt it, but I think I like Halloween 2 a little bit better than I like Halloween, like Rob Zombie's Halloween. And the only reason for that is the gore is more excessive in Halloween 2. Like everything else about the movie is just as bad, maybe worse in like a couple of ways. But I just really fucking hate Dave Fark and the whole family shit that they did in the first Halloween with him and Sherry Moon Zombie and fucking William Forsythe
rap album.
All of that stuff. I think going back and watching that now, I actually hate that more so than I do like the shit from Halloween 2. But that being said, Halloween 2 is god awful, man. Okay, so depending on which cut you watch, and I want to be specific with this too. Okay, so you're coming back from like right after the events of the first movie, Rob Zombie's first movie. And let me just preface everything I'm getting ready to say by saying that Rob Zombie was not the person that was supposed to direct this movie. Like, he butted his fucking way into it. And up until this point in the Halloween series, this was the most profitable one after like the first Halloween movie in terms of like the budget versus like what it actually made. And so they would pretty much let Rob Zombie do whatever he wanted to do on the second one to get him to come back. And he decided to come back, but he wasn't the first choice for direct. He wasn't supposed to have anything to do with this movie. And I think it was Alexander Aja that was supposed to do this movie, which would have been amazing. I can almost imagine it would have been 1,000 times better. But anyway, Rob Zombie comes back, whatever. And he, of course, can't write a script to save his fucking life. Can't do any kind of thing like that or set up anything. So after the first movie, you've got Scout Taylor Compton, Laurie Strode wandering around like in shock or whatever. She gets picked up. She gets taken to the hospital. Yada, yada, yada. Michael Myers gets picked up. He gets taken to the fucking, in an ambulance for, I guess, to go to the morgue. And
how many times does that happen in the movie?
So many times.
Oh, they're just transporting him. It'll be fine.
Yeah. It happens in Jason movies, then Friday 13th, and like Halloween all the time.
That old big dumb fucker in the back, he's stupid. He ain't gonna do nothing.
If you ever want to know why it is that I like have such a problem with Rob Zombie's dialogue, then the perfect example of that is with Richard Brake and whoever the other guy is in that fucking ambulance before it hits a cow. It hits a fucking cow. Like, I still think about that from time to time. Just out of nowhere, I'll be like, why of all
how fast was this fucking guy going too, by the way? Because it like totally rips the old guy's jaw off or whatever.
He's all like, he looks like Ring 2 over.
You'd have to be going 90 miles an hour to hit a fucking cow, then it would do that, right?
It obliterates that fucking ambulance, man. Like, that just seems improbable to me, but I don't know. I don't know how much how much cow damage can be done. But man, why pick that? I don't understand.
They could hit anything.
How does that come to you at all? Like, let's see.
Gonna be a fucking cow. Yeah. Cow.
He's like, there's a million different ways that Michael Myers could get out of this ambulance, but I think he should hit a fucking cow and like just explode the damn thing. So
the whole vehicle exploded when it hit the cow.
It does. If you watch it, it's totally fucking like destroyed.
Oh shit.
Okay, so
Laurie has emergency surgery in the hospital.
Yeah, Laurie's in the hospital. She's going through surgery, and Octavia Spencer, which is bizarre, is one of the nurses, and she's won an Oscar now, by the way. It's just crazy to see her in this movie.
She's still proud of this movie, I bet.
I'm sure. And so there's a lot of beats in the movie that are almost identical to Halloween 2, like because Michael Myers, of course, shows up and he's chasing her around the fucking hospital, you think. And then, he kills the nurse and he kills a bunch of nurses and he kills like some random fucking guy. Wasn't his name Bucky or something like that? Or Buddy? That was his name, right? Yeah. Remember the dude that was like outside that was I guess he was like a security guard or something. She goes and finds him.
Oh yeah.
I think his name's
guy.
Buddy. Yeah. Anyway, he killed, and then like right as that's Michael Myers is getting ready to kill her, whatever. It's a dream sequence. So she wakes up and it's all fucking.
She's screaming.
Bunch of bullshit.
I'm gonna tell you something though. Like, I don't know how deep you want to get into this movie. We're gonna talk about it in detail because that's kind of what Carter wants, which I'll admit Brad Dourif does do a fantastic job in this movie, but he does a fantastic job in pretty much everything that he's ever been in.
Yeah.
So he's turning some chicken shit into chicken salad. and this is the sheriff. But
I should also just say real quick too that actually the opening of the movie is some bullshit quote about a white horse, and I found out like that quote is completely made up by Rob. It says something like, it's got a quote and then it's got like the Journal of Unconscious Psychology. Something that's all made up. That's not anything. Like that's just something Rob Zombie put in there to make that white horse shit make sense for whatever fucking reason.
Oh, you know why he wanted to share it? I have a lead role. Oh, shake that ass.
He's walking around looking like the elf queen from fucking Lord of the Rings.
Let me tell you something though.
Oh,
the worst part of this movie, in my opinion,
is the whole goddamn thing.
Scout Taylor Compton. I think that she is so fucking terrible in this movie, man. Her acting and some of the delivery of those lines is true. Just so like, and I'm talking about the unrated cut because that's the one that I watched recently. I'm Angel Myers, Michael Myers' sister. I'm like, Jesus Christ, could somebody be more annoying? Like, you don't have any, to me at least, I didn't have any sympathy for that character at all. She was just fucking aggravating to me.
Well, yeah, because especially if you watch the unrated cut, she is a total, and this is a difference, by the way. I'm not joking about this either. There is a difference in the two cuts in the way that they portray the Laurie Strode character. So if you watch the theatrical cut, like she in the beginning gets along like a lot better with Annie Brackett, and like they've got like a pretty decent relationship in the beginning and things like that, and then it kind of goes downhill. She gets along with her therapist, okay, like, and then that kind of starts to go downhill. If you watch the unrated cut, all that is cut out, and it's just her being an absolute bitch to Annie Brackett and to her therapist and to everybody else.
Margot Kidder, bulls.
All she wants to do is like get like drugs and things like that from the psychiatrist and get drunk, and like that's the whole character. If you watch the unrated cut, she's just a bitch that wants to like get high. Like that's it.
You want to get high?
Fucking, that's it.
Nights in
like,
White.
I don't know.
Yeah, they were playing the long cut of that one too.
I'm not sure what happened there. Like I don't know if like Rob Zombie's idea, because it's the director's cut, right, was just to have her be completely unlikable and just
no, right here.
That's so true.
Was them some bad fucking faults. There's some people that have really bad.
They're like ones you buy off Amazon, just jam up in there.
Yes. Okay. She could make enough in a weekend at a convention to get a decent pair of fucking dentures or whatever. But whatever. I don't know. It looked like something that fucking George Washington wore back in the day.
So let's see. Like, so she's a mess. She's seeing a therapist, which is Margot Kidder. Her therapist, for some reason, like, is just giving her drugs and shit. Like, and she's addicted to the drugs and she's drinking all the time. And she's a total bitch to everybody. And she's living with Annie Brackett and Sheriff Brackett and all that. And then you got Michael simultaneously going on his journey here, because only part of that was a dream sequence. I guess the part where they hit the cow and all that was not a dream sequence. I guess that was real, but everything else,
that's Rob Zombie's intention.
That's true. We'll get into that later. That's also possible. So the big genius fucking idea here is, and this is the narrative throughout the film, is that Sherry Moon Zombie's back. And she looks like the Elfin Queen. And she's got a white horse. And she tells Michael Myers that the only way they can be reunited as a family is if a river of blood is created. And that's why he kills people.
Indeed. Dr. Loomis is basically turned into Dr. Phil in this movie too.
Yes.
He's like a total dickhead as well.
Complete, like any kind of redeeming factor that he had in the first film and like any kind of character arc is completely dead in this movie. He's just absolutely like for the money and for the fame and doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Until the last 2 minutes of the movie for some reason. I guess they needed that to happen.
I don't know why. What in the fuck is Rob Zombie's fascination with that Jeff Daniel Phillips guy?
I'd heard this. I don't know if this is true, but I swear to God I'd heard this. I'd heard, because I don't know if you know this or not, that Jeff Daniel Phillips guy was the in the caveman commercials, like the Geico caveman. He was that guy. And I heard that Rob Zombie really liked those commercials, and that's why he cast him.
I didn't know that he was one of the Geico cavemen.
He was.
Dude, he has 2 different parts in this movie. 2 different roles.
Yeah.
The unrated cut of Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is over 2 hours long though, right? What was the length on this one?
That's a good question. It is over 2 hours though.
Yeah, I can't see it on here, but I'm pretty sure it was over 2 hours. Well, it's right at 2 hours and 119 minutes. I mean, like I've tried to give this movie another chance because there's all kinds of people online that's putting this thing over saying it's one of their favorite Halloween movies. And I've heard people say that and I'm like, okay, let's see. I went back and gave it another shot. The theatrical version, the director's cut, don't like either one of them. I think that the better cut of it is the theatrical for sure.
I do too.
By a mile.
For just the ending alone, I would say.
Yeah, because
it's better.
The ending of the unrated version is like, I mean, it just has you cussing at the fucking screen. You're like, God damn it, man. What the fuck? Like, you have to see that stupid fucking horse and Sherry Moon again one more time. Oh, come on. That's so killer. I love it. That's the best Halloween movie ever.
I love that fucking horse.
We have covered 3 from Hell X-Ray.
Yeah. So where are we at here with it? So she Laurie Strode's a bitch in this one and she hates everybody and she's just down on life. And so she dresses up and they all go to a Halloween party, which I found kind of weird because that Halloween party is almost identical to the Halloween party in 2018. Like, I don't know if you caught that, but like they have almost the exact same type of like party in that as well.
That's a running theme in a lot of the Halloween movies, though. There's parties of some sort, it seems like.
So they get the. Also, this is fucking hilarious too, and I never noticed this till I watched it this time. But you've got to like go back and watch it if you didn't notice it. So she goes there with one of her best friends, who I can't remember her name, so I'll just call her Allie because who fucking cares? And like they're at this Halloween party. Michael Myers shows up. He kills Allie and her boyfriend, who's taking a piss, just minding his own business.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's fine or whatever, right? Like that makes sense. Then the next scene, he's at the Brackett's house and he kills like the cop that's outside of the Brackett's house, like, and violently and gets into that house. And then he fucking like shows back up at the party. So
he's just making these rounds. He's like, I got to get one here. And I'm going back. Bulls.
So you're telling me that he showed up at that fucking party just to kill her best friend, then go back.
Yeah, because he likes to walk in this movie too. You get those wide shots. I wonder if Rob Zombie was a big fan of the Lord of the Rings movies too. Because you get those long shots of Myers walking in some fucking.
He is Hobo Myers.
hillside.
Yes, we haven't even mentioned that, but yeah, he is like.
Yeah, he looks like he smells like a dead man's asshole in this movie.
Yep.
He doesn't wear a mask most of the time. A lot of the time, you see his face with the big ZZ Top beard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. This movie is better than Halloween Ends.
Oh,
Either,
fuck yeah.
Either cut.
If I shit on a wall outside, that's better than Halloween Ends.
Either cut is. I mean, at least this one had some good looking girls in it. There was somebody got curb stomped in this damn movie. I think Jeff Daniel Phillips, one of his characters, gets curb stomped in it.
Yep. That's almost like a fantasy of mine. So I'm glad that happened.
For sure. So I mean, it does have some fun stuff in it. It's just overall, it's just really, really boring.
I want to talk more about it though, because there's some killer shit in here that we haven't even talked about.
Let's go.
So
let's talk about it.
So Hagrid Myers shows up at the strip club, which I guess this was a nod to the first film where he shows up at the strip club that his mom worked at to take revenge. I guess that was the point of this scene on like the people that worked there. And that might be the best part of the movie to me, just because of like how violent it is. Like, and so he kills the owner, which is that one guy that's also fucking Grandpa Munster,
right?
Who he puts in all these films.
It's they're in part of Rob Zombie's repertory acting group.
And yeah, he kills a stripper. He kills Jeff Daniel Phillips out in the parking lot. He kills a bunch of people.
He does eat a dog in it too.
He does eat a dog. Yeah. There's a bunch of random shit like that happens before. Like
Daniel Roebuck was a co-star of Matlock.
He was. Holy shit! I forgot about that. Yeah. And then, so all that random violence takes place for no reason, really. And then he shows up, and he shows up at the party. He shows back up at the party, and then fucking, I can't remember exactly how he gets Laurie Strode back to the fucking cabin
in the woods.
Thing. But he does. I don't remember if he knocks her out. I don't know what the fuck happens exactly.
Like, there's a scene where Laurie is being held down by the younger Michael Doppelganger guy, which a lot of people were kind of like, why in the hell wouldn't they just get Dag Fark back? Because this was only a couple of years after the first movie. They got somebody that looked a little bit like him.
Yeah.
In the same outfit, like a clown outfit and everything. But he's just a figment of her imagination in this. And so is Sherry Moon Zombie.
Yep.
She's not really there. But Michael Myers is there.
Apparently.
Okay.
Maybe.
So Myers was the killer. Because he gets got towards the end of this.
Maybe.
And then she goes out, like Myers gets, and we're going to spoil this. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, you don't need to see this movie anyway.
So Myers attacks Loomis, fucking Malcolm McDowell's ass, and kills him. We think he's dead. I assumed he was dead. And then he's killed, and then Laurie comes out, and she's like, "Oh, I'm free," or whatever. And then she goes to kill or stab Loomis again and gets shot. And then what, Uncle Bill?
In which part? In which fucking version?
Well, what's the most interesting version? That the last thing doesn't happen in the theatrical version.
That's true. Yeah. So
let's go over both of them. What's the theatrical? Like, kind of leaves it. I feel that the theatrical ending kind of leaves it more in the air of what in the hell did I just see here? And then the yeah.
So once they're in the cabin or whatever the fuck that is, all of a sudden, like, Dr. Loomis shows up and he's like, okay, I'm going to be a mediator or fucking like whatever for this situation, which is weird because up until that point, he has no interest in like anything to do. He's a complete dickhead. And then he just like within that split second is like, I'm going to save the day. So he goes in there I thought he got killed in the first one. Didn't he get his head fucking crushed in the first one? But
Hell, I
apparently,
don't
like,
know.
that he's fine. So he comes back, and in the unrated version, fucking Michael Myers starts stabbing the shit out of him while he's screaming "die."
Ah! That's how he said it. Ah!
And he's got his mask off and everything, and he looks like Hagrid from fucking Harry Potter, and it just fucking.
It could be one of the Robertson boys too, the Duck Dynasty guys.
While he's screaming "die," and then at some point, Scout Taylor Compton comes out, and she like puts the fucking mask on, and you're led to believe that like almost like in part 4 that she's gonna like take over the mantle or something like that of Michael Myers. And she gets shot by the fucking guy that did the voice of Patrick in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Really?
Yeah, that was the guy that shot her. I'm not even kidding.
Damn, there's so many cameos in this, you can't keep track. And then we go to and I've never been in a psychiatric facility, Uncle Bill. But I would imagine that most of them don't have like 2 miles of straight fucking hallway before you get to the room of the patient, right? That probably that ain't how it looks. But that's how it looks in this movie. And poor old Scout Taylor. Bulls, I hate picking on her because she does seem like a nice person. She really does. She's just a fucking horrible actress that was given she was given too big of a role. She couldn't do it. I felt that she pulled off the first movie way better than she did the second, especially the director's cut. But the whole thing is now is Scout is in this fucking room. She's going nuts and she sees the fucking white horse again and gives a evil look at the end of the movie. And then this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that you hear the Halloween theme in the damn movie is at the end.
I didn't realize that.
I think it is. You definitely don't hear it much. Do you like it, Uncle Bill?
I really can't even describe to you how much
it's grown on you, son.
It's really, really grown on me. Like I said, I like this movie better than I do part 1, and I can't tell you why. I find part 1 to be just completely fucking just. I think it's because like the first half is so fucking ridiculous in part 1 with the dialogue, and then it just immediately shifts on a dime to a complete remake of like the original Halloween. To whereas this movie at least stays pretty like similar throughout. You know what I mean? Like it's shitty, but there's a continuity to the shittiness of it. Except for the ending, which is a whole other.
It's still not a good movie though.
No, it still sucks.
There were rumors about issues behind the scenes with this too, and Rob Zombie talked about it a little bit in an interview he did with our buddy Howie Mandel not too long ago, where he was kind of he says that he was kind of forced into doing a sequel. He had originally signed on to do 3 movies, and he did the sequel if they would let him out of the contract. That's what he says.
Yeah. Well, there's another story I heard him tell, which was on Joe Rogan. I think it was Joe Rogan, where he basically was like that the Weinsteins were like showing him stuff that the new directors were doing with Halloween 2, and he said he was like, well, that's my, version of it, and I want to do the, he got jealous of the fact that they were messing with his version of like what he did with Halloween, so he decided to come back and do it. So whichever version suits him, I don't know, but he's told 2 different versions of that.
And something else is interesting to note as well is there's a 4-hour making of documentary for Halloween 2 that he did that's never seen the light of day and probably never will. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's probably a lot of bitching and like carrying on and stuff going on between him and everybody in that movie, I would
The
imagine.
Weinsteins?
Yeah.
Probably. Because like the first one had that 4-hour making of, and then there were, I think he's talked about it before too, that, for a variety of reasons, that will never see the light of day. But we can hope that somebody fucking, hacks into a server and steals it or something.
But I mean, don't you think though, man? Like the biggest part of the problem, I'll be honest with you, I never liked Malcolm McDowell's Loomis in these movies.
Me
In
either.
either movie, I never liked him. I don't know why. He just seems like he's fucking sleepwalking through it. I never liked Sherry Moon Zombie in either one of them. I don't know why he continuously does that. Scout Taylor Compton was there and she was just there. Like I didn't think she was horrible and I didn't think she was great. But the biggest problem with both these movies is always the biggest problem with Rob Zombie's movies is the fucking writing, the dialogue, the script, the pace. Like having any idea of where you're going with the movie, like having any semblance of what you want to do with the ending of it or telling a story, just a basic story. Like he fucked up the continuity of the movie, man. Like that's hard to do, really, if you think about it. Like Michael Myers shows up one place and does something completely unrelated, then he's back in another place, and then he shows back up at that place. And you know that wasn't intentional. That was just him fucking it up, like not knowing what to do in editing. So I just don't think he's a competent filmmaker or writer, especially at all.
Rob Zombie was attached to a Blob remake at one time too. And then there were talks of Halloween 3 in 3D as well with Rob Zombie, and I think without Rob Zombie. But ultimately they decided to go somewhere else with it. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But Bradley says that it did poorly at the box office. I can't recall that. If somebody can get that information, let us know.
I can get it really quick.
It seems like it did okay. I don't think it did as well as the first movie, but this was around the time where they were doing the Halloween movies and they were releasing them in August.
Okay, so on a budget of $15 million, it made $39.4 million.
Okay, so it didn't do great, but it still made its money back and then some.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it didn't do any. I think the first movie, the first Halloween remake, had a budget of $15 million, and it made like 80 or 90 million. So, I think if you compare those two figures, that's probably why they kind of soured on Rob.
Why do you think it is though? Like Rob Zombie and his fan base is so like fucking loyal, and like everything that he does, people give him a pass.
I think it's just just certain people like certain styles of movies, like David Lynch. Like you could argue that, some people think David Lynch is amazing and some people think that he's just unwatchable. And I think it's the same thing for Rob Zombie. Like there's just some people that like the way those movies look, and like same thing with Eli Roth, really. Like they just like the style of the movies, and some people just can't stand them. Mm-hmm. But I honestly think that, like, objectively, if you look at his movies, they're awful because they just don't make sense.
And then the truth is, though, with me, if I'm being completely honest, neither of the Halloween movies today for me are unwatchable. Right? I can go back and watch them. I still kind of feel the same as I did initially. But it's just the fact that there has been so many fucking horrible movies since then that you almost give movies like this a pass. Right? So you've got David Gordon Green, who, dude, I don't think that.
I'm not sure where he fits right now in that, like, Mount Rushmore shitty director. Like, if you had Eli Roth, Rob Zombie, and David Gordon Green, I'm not sure where David Gordon Green is in that hierarchy right now.
Eli Roth is I'd say he's definitely a worse filmmaker than Rob Zombie.
I think so too.
If we're ranking them, I mean, at least there's a few Rob Zombie movies that I kind of like, or at least 2 or 3.
But I'll be honest with you, there's only one fucking David Gordon Green movie that I like, and I hated the other 2. So
What
I mean,
was it? Tropic Thunder.
did he do Tropic Thunder too?
Now, what did he do? Was it called
Pineapple Express?
Pineapple Express. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't even like that movie. So,
I don't know. I don't think David Gordon Green. I really like initially when I first watched Halloween 2018, and I guess we can go ahead and get into it because
that's the next review. Yeah.
That is the extra review. I've had a couple of people ask me why or if we had ever done a review of David Gordon Green's first Halloween movie, Halloween 2018. And I thought for sure that we had done it. I'm like, we had a whole 8-hour marathon of Halloween reviews. Surely to God. And I went back and no, we had never done an official review of the 2018 Halloween movie, which is 5 years old at this point. Now, we weren't doing the show then, so that's probably why we didn't do a review for it. But since Halloween is upon us, it's time, Uncle Bill. It's time to talk about Halloween 2018. Now, I pulled it out here, boys, the Blu-ray disc. I did see this in theaters. Did you see it in theaters?
Shit, I don't even know, man.
I can recall seeing it. Sarah and I were in Knoxville on a little mini vacation, and they were playing it at IMAX, one of those big theaters in Knoxville in IMAX. And I was like, holy shit, let's go. And man, it looked fucking killer. Especially the opening credit sequence with the pumpkin and everything in IMAX. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. But honestly, I went into this in 2018 completely blind because I wasn't keeping up with the news or anything. I knew Jamie Lee was back. But I really didn't know anything about it. I didn't follow who was really even making it, what studio was behind it, who else was in it or anything. So I went in it completely as a fan, as a total mark. And I didn't follow stuff on the internet then hardly at all, reviews or anything. So I didn't even know what people were saying about it. And I think this was the first week or so that it was out. And I don't know, man. I've always thought this is a pretty solid movie. And even when I go back and rewatch it, I mean, it's not perfect.
No, it's got some really questionable stuff in it, but overall, in general, it's way better than anything that Rob Zombie did, in my opinion.
The big thing that I notice about it still, when you watch it back today, is the beginning, the opening sequence and everything. It feels bigger than those other movies.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a more epic. This is the one that you know. And like I said, there's some stupid shit in it. The doctor character,
that was the biggest problem to me.
Which that made no sense at all. But well, let's get into it. So the opening of the movie, this is, and for one thing, there's not even a Halloween 2 in this version, right? This is just the first movie. So this is 40 years after the events of the first movie. Right. There's a podcast team, Uncle Bill, that's doing a story on the Halloween murders in 78. And they're in this asylum on the outside. It's like an outside, recreation area in this insane asylum, I guess. And then they're flashing all these, they really do look like there's something wrong with them, some of these people that are there.
Yeah.
And then Myers is just there with his back to the camera standing. He's an old man. He's balding, gray hair and everything. And one of the podcasters, and this is kind of far-fetched, I thought, had the mask from 78, and he was like, "Look at this, Michael! Look at the mask." And I think that's when it cuts to the old school style credits with the music and everything, right?
Well, yeah. So I think this is like one of the better openings to a Halloween film, post like the first Halloween, of course. But like one of the things that got me about this scene, and I don't know why, that took me out of it is so they go to this mental institution. He's in there. They bring the mask. They're talking to him. When they pull out the mask, you can tell it has like an effect on him, but he doesn't say anything or anything like that. That's what they want him to do. They want him to talk, say something.
Right.
But
For
all
the
the other
podcast.
all the other mental patients are going like out of their fucking mind, and that's all
They're
super
slinging
cool.
shit and everything.
That all was like really atmospheric, and then it gets this one guy, and it fucking cracks me up every time. I don't know why. He's going Figaro, Figaro, and I'm just like, that just takes me out of it, man. I don't know why. Like everything up to that point was fine, but I just fucking died laughing. And then it cuts to the Halloween music. It's still a pretty cool scene, but I just wish to God they wouldn't. That's something goofy about that just
the visuals in that scene's really well done too. Like I remember seeing it in the theater, I was like, "Holy shit, this is really cool." And then when they went back to like the first movie's opening credits and had the pumpkin that was rotting or whatever, and then coming back.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was really cool.
It's like I think that he was like really trying to be like a wink to the audience, like, okay, like this is a Halloween film. Like I know what I'm doing, like I'm going to use the source material, not like Rob Zombie, who's just going to shit on everything and try to make it some sort of weird redneck fantasy.
Right.
Yeah, kind of return to form.
Yeah, you get the feeling, this is actually going to be a Halloween movie. You're not going to have some really shitty actors screaming, "I'm Angel Myers! I'm fucked up! Let's listen to some Diamond Head on the radio and talk about how fucked up I am." Fucking hate her.
God damn, son.
She's awful.
You really, really don't like her in that movie.
Opening credit sequence. Then they visit Lori, who is kind of a recluse. She's living out in this gimmicked up cabin in the woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't really want to talk to him. They bribe her and everything. And she's just been hiding out training for Michael's return. Like she's been scarred for 40 years.
Yep.
Because a couple of her high school friends got murdered that night, and it's ruined her whole damn life, Uncle Bill.
Let's be honest. I mean, like, that would be traumatic. That whole situation would be traumatic. But 40 years later, like, I don't know. She's still just as nutty as she was right then at that point. So also though, she's pulling a Linda Hamilton, really. Like that's the inspiration for this, clearly. And that was a great idea the first time they did it. And then every like movie that came out started copying that fucking idea, with fucking old stupid Sally Hardesty coming back and getting chainsawed to death, like Leatherface.
I thought Mick Garris did a good job in that. But Lori in this, she's kind of estranged with her family. In this one, she has a grown daughter. It's played by Judy Greer, and then a teenage granddaughter, Allison, who is in. I say Judy Greer is in the second one, and Allison is in all of them, right?
Is Judy Greer in the first one? Judy Greer is in the first one.
Yeah, I know she's in the first and the second ones.
Oh yeah. They're.
And then we're kind of introduced to that Dr. Sartain character who they kind of want to make like a new Loomis. They said that he was Loomis's protege and he studied under him and everything.
Right.
Who we find out is kind of an evil doctor that's, wanting to, get in Michael Myers' head and figure out what the hell is going on and everything. He's really, I think that guy has like an awful Donald Pleasance impression throughout this
I do
whole
too.
movie.
Like,
Like
and that to me is the biggest part of the problem with this movie, really, is that character. And ultimately, like what that character does. That's
hey, Alan Jackson's in here, Bulls.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if they were going for like a straight ripoff of like Donald Pleasant. I don't know why they needed to have a doctor that was like, you know, had an accent and fucking had an obsession with Michael Myers again, but they did.
Myers escapes though while they're transporting him on a bus. Bulls. Who? What the hell? How does that happen? There's a wreck of some sort. There is a scene, and I remember
they hit a deer or something, or a fucking moose.
They hit another cow, maybe.
Yeah.
Where Michael kills like a younger kid in this. And
yeah,
like,
that does happen.
That's a first. I don't think it, this kid's probably 12 or 13 years old. And I thought that I was like, wow, I mean, that's kind of ballsy. But yeah, bus wrecks, they escape and everything. And Michael is loose in Haddonfield again on Halloween night. And when he starts his rampage, I thought that was the coolest fucking shit. Like the way it was filmed and everything.
That to me was probably the best part of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. The Haddonfield Halloween rampage. And soundtrack, John Carpenter did the soundtrack with his son in this, Cody. And Cody. And I think that's great. I thought that the soundtrack was amazing. I mean, they used some of the classic music, but they also had some new music that kind of went with the classic music.
Hold on, I gotta plug his fucking computer in. I didn't realize it wasn't plugged in.
Plug that damn computer in, pal.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, we mentioned that, Bradley. He does murder a youngster. Michael's mask in this one too, and I'll wait on Uncle Bill to get his response about the mask. But the Chris Nelson, who did the makeup effects in all these movies, pretty much went with the classic Myers mask, but aged it into like, had heavy damage and weather on it. I really like the mask a lot. I know some people were hoping that they would just, because there's photos of the actual Myers mask today that was used in the first movie, that they would actually just go and make a replica of exactly that and use that, which would have been cool too. But I thought that the mask that they went with was pretty damn killer.
What are you talking about? The mask? It was it's probably one of the better masks, that they've actually had.
Yeah, because it was essentially supposed to be the original mask, just aged.
So, have you got to the bus wreck part, and then like what happens with yada yada, and then killing the kid?
Kills the kid.
So that to me is out of like character for Michael Myers. Like he never really kills like young kids or anything, but whatever. I guess he killed his sister when she was what, 16? How old was she supposed to be?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, yeah, whatever.
16, 17.
It just seems odd. Anyway, so he gets loose. He's, of course, loose on the town and what have you. And he goes on the killing spree, which is the best part of the whole movie, where he literally is just in like a one shot, like a kind of like a dolly shot, just going from house to house, breaking into the houses and just killing like whoever's in there, which is what you would imagine that Michael Myers would fucking do. Like that would kind of be the thing, right?
Yeah.
With just no sense to it, no motive, just random senseless kind of violence, because that's what he was doing. That was his whole gimmick. And there's a lot of really cool like death scenes within that.
Is it really too bad that Corey Cunningham wasn't in all three movies? Here's my problem.
I'm hoping he's being sarcastic.
Well, this is one of the problems. So it would be one thing if Corey Cunningham was actually a character in one of the other movies, but he wasn't. I think we lost Uncle Bill there. Or we lost me one or another. The whole problem though is they just introduced that character in the last movie like we were supposed to give a shit. Uncle Bill, where you at? Can you guys still see me? Because I'm still seeing your messages on here. Might be having some technical difficulties with Uncle Bill's tin can internet strikes again, or my tin can internet, one or the other. But yeah, 17 years old. I don't know his internet. Okay, I'm good. I'm good, Uncle Bill. Hopefully we'll be back. But it's a good time to go through some of your questions and stuff while we're waiting on. Tony Moran was in a couple of scenes in Kills, wasn't it? Kills? But it's flashback scenes. They did not film new stuff with Tony Moran. They knew better than that. I think he plugged his laptop in there, Phantasmat. So, with me in Halloween 2018, me and my wife and my brother-in-law actually all went to the big IMAX theater and watched it. I've always liked 2018. Of the three, that was the strongest one, in my opinion. It's the one that actually like flowed the best. That had like it did have some stupid shit in it, like the Dr. Sartain thing where he's who knows what the hell that was. That was kind of dumb. But overall, of the three movies, that was the strongest one, easily. Oh, you back? What happened?
I'm dumb.
I'm sorry. It's okay. You're in Eastern Kentucky with a bunch of dumb people, so you fit right in.
I feel fine. What were you talking about though?
I was just talking generally about the movie. I mean, I was saying it still feels like the strongest movie of the three, and the other ones just seemed like they had lots and lots of problems. This one, aside from that Dr. Sartain character, I really didn't have a problem with any of it. I mean, some of the traps and stuff in Laurie's house was kind of far-fetched. That she'd have like gas lines hooked up and trap doors in her basement and like this fucking moving shelf thing that would cover her basement up and shit.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I thought that was really cool. The idea of like, there's lots of precedent for that with like, Nightmare on Elm Street shit, just setting up like booby traps. But the fact that she like wired her whole house to be like one giant booby trap that would, just for that particular reason, so she would eventually like one day, be able to catch him.
Mhm.
I like the idea that Jamie Lee Curtis is in this and she's not trying to be like she's a basket case. She's not even trying. She's more of a basket case in this than she is in H2O, in which she was kind of trying to play like a 90s version of a basket case. But in this, it's kind of like more realistic, like the way that she plays that role. I do not like Judy Greer. I don't know why. I just never liked Judy Greer in much anything. She's okay. I don't like the granddaughter, Allison. I just don't like her role. I don't know.
CinemaSide says that he feels like David Gordon Green and Danny McBride had a good idea for just one film.
Well, if you think about it, okay.
Probably the case.
So if you think about it too, it's like they had how long probably to write that movie and to come up with those ideas? Probably a long ass time. And then it did so well, and probably the studio was like, well, we got to have like a sequel immediately.
Well, didn't they already announce it was 3 movies though, right? When they initially announced Jamie Lee Curtis.
There ain't no fucking way, man, that they sat down and wrote that out as a trilogy, unless they are just like the worst goddamn writers of all time, because that second movie looks like something somebody put together in like 10 minutes.
I don't think that they wrote it as a trilogy. I'm just saying that whenever they signed that deal, I think it was for 3 movies.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's probably true. But yeah, like so. But leading up to 2018, like they had all the time in the world to write like something that would be at least coherent. And then they had to make like a sequel in probably 6-8 months or something.
She was the Kevin McAllister of Halloween for sure.
That's true.
The very end, how they trap him down there and try to blow the house up and everything. Like I thought that was a great ending as well. And
I did too. It should have ended. That should have been the end of the fucking whole thing, really. Like,
well, I mean, they did leave it open for a sequel though at the end too. But where they went with Kills, and I actually like looking back at it, at least Kills has that flashback scene and stuff. But like I remember when you and I watched it in the theater, I was like, what in the fuck are they doing here?
they didn't know.
What is
they
this?
They didn't know any more than we did.
Yeah.
I was really trying to figure out, like, while when we were watching Kills, like, so what it seemed like is, like, they were just like, when we do this next movie, we're just going to say fuck everything that has to do with any kind of plot or anything. And we're just going to kill as many people as possible. And that's why we'll call it Kills. That was like probably the extent to which they thought about what they were doing in the movie. And we'll have some bullshit about, you know, mob violence and all that stuff and how it's bad and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the fuck they were doing with Halloween Ends. Like, I've still yet to figure that out.
They're just like, hey, we've got to end it somehow. Let's do this, boys. You know, David Gordon Green gave an interview before the movie ever came out saying that he knew people wasn't going to like it. So he was expecting it.
Yeah.
I think with Halloween Ends, there's really nothing that redeeming in that movie at all, especially for Halloween fans. There's no build up for really anything that you care about in it. At least with Kills, it was just a stupid slasher movie, and that's pretty much what I think they were going for there. And it kind of delivered in that aspect. I mean, the mob thing and the evil dies tonight, like that was awful. And Anthony Michael Hall's a shitty fucking actor too. I can't stand him. Like, I can't believe they hired him in that movie.
Either. He was bad in that, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the 2018 is easily the best of that trilogy.
It's weird too, because like they had a good movie. I won't say it's a great movie, but a good movie that they could build something off of, right? In Halloween 2018. And they could have gone so many different directions with it. And I'm just utterly confused about why they chose to go those two movies. Like, I have no idea. I have no earthly idea why you would want to go the direction that they did. It reminds me of like Spinal Tap when they go through their fucking jazz phase or whatever. Like, I hope you enjoy the new direction. And it's all just like, what? Like, what are you doing?
No. Where do you think, though, like, I don't know if we've talked about this before, like, I think, is it Miramax that has the rights back to the Halloween franchise now? Like, do they do the TV show thing? Is that for sure what they're doing? Or
that's what I heard. Yeah, that's the last thing I heard.
Yeah. So I don't know how you do a TV show revolving around Michael Myers. I don't think you can do it, but we'll see.
Well, somebody will pick up the movie soon. I'm pretty sure, like within the next couple of years. I don't know who it'll be. But
no, I think it's going to be about 5 years. You'll get a new one.
You think?
Whenever the 50th anniversary comes along of the first movie is when we'll see something new Halloween related. I'd about guarantee it. They've got to do something then.
So if you break it down, though, I'll break it down into 4 separate categories for you, okay? Because that's where we're at, really, with reviewing these movies. So if you have 1 and 2 are kind of together, and they're kind of their own like thing. 4, 5, 6,
they're kind of together, yeah.
They're together. And then H2O is really not a part of anything, right? Because in H2O they forget like everything that happened in 4, 5, or 6.
Right. It's a continuation of 1 and 2.
Right. And then Resurrection forgets what? Like
Resurrection is just technically a sequel to H2O, I think.
And then you
it's
go to
kind of a
Rob.
standalone.
So there's actually 5 different like subplots here, subcategories, I should say. Then you got the Rob Zombie trilogy, or Rob Zombie 2 movies, and then you got the David Gordon Green trilogy. So, like, how do those rank? Like, if you had to rank those,
David Gordon Green's isn't even a trilogy. I mean, it's 3 separate movies, really. They don't go together at all. None of them do. Like,
well,
it's
they're
just
supposed to.
it's 3 separate stories.
They may not, but they're supposed to.
So his would be dead last just because of that. Like they don't go together at all. None of the. It would be one thing if, like I said, that Corey Cunningham character, if he was in one of the first 2 movies, I would have been a little bit more forgiving to that character, but he wasn't. It's just like David Gordon Green was shitting one day and thought, "Oh, here's what I'll do." It's the 3rd movie. And I think the truth is this, like they made him change it. I think originally Michael Myers wasn't in Halloween Ends.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I think you're right. Like, I don't think that was even.
So he had to change that. But that was his idea. He was like, "Oh, we're going to trick people." I don't know if Corey just found Michael's dead body and took the outfit, which, I mean, I don't know how I would have felt about that. It would have been cooler than what they did, probably.
Yeah, if they would have picked either way to go rather than the way they did, it would have been better, I think. They would have stuck to one or the other. But Resurrection is hilariously bad, and H2O is not aged well. H2O has a good ending, I think. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense the way that it picks up in Resurrection, but I mean, if it ended the way that you thought it ended, it would be a good ending. But it a lot of the stuff in it's really dated. 4, 5, and 6, I still enjoy to this day. Like, I still think that they're pretty great. And then I don't know, 1 and 2
like
are kind of
5?
classic.
5's not the best, but
No,
I mean it's watchable.
I mean, of those 3, actually 5 is my least favorite. But a lot of people would probably say 6, but
they're wrong.
They're
6 is
incorrect.
Great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, extra movie, because it's bizarre that we never reviewed this, but we're gonna have to do some shows eventually, like in probably December or January or something, where we cover some of the years that we didn't do shows. You know, because there are a lot of movies around that time frame that we probably never talked about. And it's just weird that we never did review Halloween 2018 proper. I know we've talked about it. But.
So what do you think, though? Where will they go from here? Like, if you're going to make another movie, do they pick up? You really can't pick up, can you? Like, I mean, you have to just restart the whole fucking thing again.
I'm not really sure where you go with it.
You ain't going to pick up with Corey Cunningham. I know that. Like,
I mean, I guess they would reboot the franchise again, possibly. They could do that. Could you see them continuing Rob Zombie's timeline and doing like a 3rd Rob Zombie? Bringing him back. They could easily get him to come back.
Yeah, for whatever reason, that dude, more so than anybody else, has like a devoted fan base of people that will watch whatever he puts out. So I believe that they could do that if they wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And you could get all those people back as well. Scout Taylor Compton would be dying to come back. The only bad thing is that she really don't look much like she did back then. She's had a lot of work done.
Yeah.
In those 10 years or whatever it's been, 12 years. Rob Zombie's Halloween 3, dude, it would make a fucking fortune though. Like, we can make fun of Rob Zombie all we want to, but there's no denying that dude has a massive freaking fan base online, like younger people, even like, people our age.
Well, they're not young now. They're like 30s.
That's what I'm saying now. Like, he's got a gigantic fan base of people that are just dying for more. I mean, they're blindly faithful to his shit. They even put over the Monsters movie.
That's true. And there's people that love like 31 and dress up as the characters and fucking they love 3 from Hell. Fuck are you all watching?
Scout Taylor Compton does look like a totally different person now.
She
I don't know
does.
what all she's done. I mean, she does look good. I ain't gonna lie, but she doesn't look like the same girl at all. But they'd still get her back, I guess. But yeah, that is Sequelitis was the first one that we've done in like a year and a half. These are always fun to do, but you know, they there isn't many aside from that deer scene in the ring too. There's not a whole lot of entertaining shit to talk about really in either of these movies.
No.
But
I mean, Haggard Myers is great and all. And walking around with the white horse and yada yada yada. People still trying to make that into something that it's definitely not. It's kind of funny, but people will defend those movies till the day they die, I feel.
oh yeah. I mean, and it's fine. People can like what they want to like. I mean, I know Foz was talking about on one of Jay's shows that a lot of the times these movies are like your cousin when we come out of the theater for Rob Zombie. That may have been the first Halloween movie that he saw in theaters, and there's a lot of people like that. That's always going to be one of their favorites, maybe their favorites, just because that was what they grew up watching and shit. So even though we don't like it, I mean, there are some people that definitely love those movies.
Yeah, I never will forget, like, just being, like, so fucking pissed off and turning around to my cousin, like, that was awesome.
Like, he was like,
yeah.
You look like you wanted to smack him. Like,
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's great shit.
Oh, we got a super duper chat, boss.
From Michael Piatkowski.
Michael Piatkowski. He says, I think that Rob Zombie's Halloween movies, people like I would agree with that. Like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies more than David Gordon Green's Halloween movies. And since we are talking about David Gordon Green, let's get this one pulled back up here.
Shut up!
What?
Hawkins! What's going on in here? Did we get a super chat again?
Piatkowski. And I think you're right. You're right on the money.
I think that, there's more of a cult following for Rob Zombie than there is for David Gordon Green, for sure. Just people just like the way that he makes movies.
We appreciate everybody joining us on the chat tonight, too. We've had right at 100 people the entire time, and that's pretty killer considering, like, everybody on YouTube's fucking streaming tonight, so I appreciate it.
Everybody in the mammals on there talking about a bunch of bullshit.
Scott Temple says, speaking of sequels, are we ever going to get another Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street film? It's been almost 15 years. Man,
I hope not. Like, on either one of those, really.
Well, I mean, that's true. Like after the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, like I think that killed that franchise for a long time. I would love to see Robert Englund somehow play Freddy again in some way, even if it's just the voice, because Freddy needs a better swan song than that fucking remake, I think.
Nancy, get over here, shit. Nancy. Like I swear to God, every time I hear that voice, it's like the most bored Freddy Krueger ever. I'm gonna kill all of you, Nancy.
Good old TJ says that nobody goes to theaters like the old days. People won't be saying that about when they see in theaters in the future. Well, theaters, I think, are on their way out as well. I think theaters, physical media, all that shit. And here's what we've always looked at in the past. What's more convenient for people? What's the easiest way to consume like a show or a movie or something? So if you go all the way back, rental store, everybody did the rental store thing, right? After that, Redbox kind of took over. Rental stores was going Redbox. That was easier, just go up to a damn fucking machine and put your money in there and rent something.
Yep.
And then streaming come along. And the same thing with the movie theaters, man. It's not convenient for people to go. and pay. Like, it's expensive. If you want concessions and everything, it's another $10-15. And people are loud, and kids are assholes and everything. So it's more convenient for people to watch shit at home. And like, look at The Exorcist, man. We watched that one like the first week in October, and it's been streaming on the rental, like on Vudu, for like over a week. I think it's already out.
Well, yeah, another part of it too is that nowadays with technology, like a lot of people we know, they've got like 70 to 80-inch OLED fucking TVs with like 4K players and Dolby Atmos and shit, which you can basically just have a theater in your house now. And you'll probably be paying anywhere between $5,000-6,000 for all that shit. But for a lot of people, that's worth it.
Mhm.
And you don't even need to go out and do anything like that like anymore.
Yeah.
There's no incentive. What's the incentive to go to the movie theaters? Like, here's my thing with movie theaters. Like, at this point, they're losing their ass, and they're still wanting to charge like $8-10 for a thing of popcorn and like $5 and $6 for a drink. It's like, wouldn't you at this point be fucking trying to do something else? Like, cut down the prices of things, like, rather than I just don't understand the logic. Like, those days are over with, man. Like, nobody's going to theaters like that anymore.
Yeah.
Honest to God, that fucking Five Nights at Freddy's was the most crowded I've seen a movie theater in a couple years.
I mean, I prefer going to a movie theater and watching it, because to me, even now, the technology is essentially the same as when you're watching it at home. You know, you got slightly better picture quality, bigger screen, and everything. But like, to me, that's how you know you actually went to see the damn movie. Like, I hate, like, if it's some big movie that I want to watch, like, and that's why I watched all of the Halloween movies in the theaters and stuff, because I've seen all of them since I was 18 years old in the theater. Right. So to me, if you just stream it at home, it seems like you're missing out on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but I don't feel like that's not the majority of people's perceptions at this point. They just don't
No,
even want to go to the theater.
because the value of movies in general is just nothing anymore. That's a big thing too.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they're not important.
No, it's not like an experience anymore that people even want to do, really. A lot of people are asking me about. I don't think I'm the guy to comment on Five Nights at Freddy. I was just kind of there.
Didn't you get into it?
I don't know anything about. There's apparently a whole mythology and lore about that series or whatever, and I don't know anything about it. So I'm really not the guy to ask about Five Nights at Freddy's.
But I knew when movie theaters were getting rid of the 35 millimeter projection and all going digital, like, I think I'd said back then on the show, I was like, this technology is getting way too close to what we have at home, and people aren't going to care. And the fact that a lot of these movies debut on streaming like less than 2 weeks after they came out in the movie theater.
Yep.
Most people are going to fucking wait. You know, it's cheaper. Even if you rent a movie for $18 or whatever the hell it is, it's still cheaper than taking a whole damn family out to the movie theater with popcorn and, candy and everything else.
We always just slip all the candy and shit into the purse.
Yeah.
I ain't paying you $6 for a bag of dollar candy. Fuck you.
That's funny because it is, yes, Dollar Tree candy is what it is, those little boxes.
Yeah.
But anyway.
If I could figure out a way to sneak it like a popcorn machine in there, I would do that too. Fuck him on that popcorn. God.
You could do that.
You imagine hooking up a microwave in there. Hold on.
Go. Well, just pop it right before you leave, and then take it and have Savannah put it in her purse.
Yeah.
Have just a separate purse for concessions. Just have her carry that one in.
Because here's the funny thing: like at bigger chains, don't they check your bags and shit? Like sometimes, like at the Regals and stuff, but they don't do that shit at all around here. You can pack anything in there. Like you can pack a damn bologna sandwich, and they wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah, I think overall, though, like in big cities and stuff, theaters are going to do fine. It's like the smaller areas, like Pikeville, like that theater's days are numbered, man. That I don't see that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've been all the times we've been down there to see movies. There's hardly ever been anybody there. Times I've gone, and seen other stuff down there, like when I went and saw Oppenheimer and Talk to Me, there was nobody there. This was probably 70% full tonight, and that's the most, or today, and that's the most I've seen it in years. So I don't think anything will ever sell out down there.
Well, think of it like this too, though. When we would go, the Dead Pit on the Roads back in the day, the big movies like Friday the 13th was big one, and the Rob Zombie Halloween was sold out and everything. And back then, you couldn't do what you can do now. Like some of the big movies, they preview these at like Thursday night at like 7 or 8 o'clock. If that was like 10 or 15 years ago, those would be jam packed, full. But there's just not people. I don't think people go to the theaters anymore. It's just not a destination thing.
Nope.
But anyway, it's been a fun show. I knew it would be. People always like to hear us talk about Rob Zombie's movies and everything. And it's a sad day when we can safely say that the Rob Zombie Halloween movies are better than at least 2 of the David Gordon Green movies.
I guarantee it. I would much rather watch either one of those movies than those last 2 David Gordon Green movies.
Yeah.
Because I suck.
So, if you guys have not liked the video yet, you better fucking do that. Okay, show us your support and everything, right, Uncle Bill?
That's true. You should always show support. Like, I really am interested in all the support that you are giving us. So make sure that you hit the buttons, subscribe, fucking thumbs up,
finger it up,
finger it.
Also, we've been selling some more of these. So we've got a special Halloween discount for patrons. If you want a copy of Into the Pit, signed or unsigned, members of deadpitonpatreon.com can score it for $10 shipped in the U.S. $10 shipped in the U.S. You got to go to deadpitonpatreon.com for the details.
Oh, I do like this idea, though. Scott Temple says if they question you, just be like crazy fat F. I'm like, I'm hungry and y'all taking my food.
There you go. Next thing we've got up, and this is the last show that we're doing for Halloween because it is on Halloween night, the return of the big ass Halloween bash, Uncle Bill. We're going back 35-year anniversary of Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers.
Hell yeah. Bradley Taylor, don't watch Halloween Ends to fucking wrap up the Halloween season. That's like,
yeah,
don't even know. That's like eating Taco Bell to wrap up Thanksgiving or something.
I mean, unless you're watching the Sweet Chin Music to the Kid over and over and over again all night, I'd watch that part.
Fucking yeah.
But yeah, big ass Halloween bash, Halloween night, 10 p.m. Halloween 4. It's Dwight Little, the WCW jobber. That's his one directorial movie.
Yeah.
And that'll be a fun show. And after that, man, it's Slowvember. We're slowing down a little bit. There's still going to be some big shows coming up. We got another tier idea that we'll probably be announcing here shortly. But yeah, I mean, tons of stuff that we've done this month, man. It's fucking insane. So we're going to take a little bit of a
I did a fucking show yesterday just out of the blue for no reason, really. So I mean, there's all kinds of content on there.
Also, if you want to go jacking with Jay, he's going to be doing a show tomorrow at 1 p.m. And man, his shows have actually been doing pretty damn good on for non-CKUB shit.
Well, Jay is a fucking charismatic fella.
He's a charismatic Mahayan enigma.
Yep.
Yeah. But that is it, guys. We appreciate everybody tuning in and everything. And we will be back on Halloween night. And you all be sure to keep creepy over at
deadpitch.com.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that now.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.